And after 5 years, I am back with an update. What's up, tubulars? That's right, I had uploaded a video, recorded and did research and did all this work on a video for the Sonos Play 1, giving you my initial impressions and review of that device, and it seemed like as soon as I uploaded that thing, there were definitely some changes from Sonos, not to mention some misinformation that I had given, and I want to correct myself because that was 5 years ago, and quite frankly, folks, I've been busy in the comments section, and I have to say, I really appreciate all the comments. I do. All the comments. Yeah, so YouTube has been recommending that video, and YouTube, I appreciate you doing that, but for the folks out there that need this information and need the right stuff, well, I'm gonna give you the right stuff, or at least the better stuff anyway, compared to that video. So I do apologize because, like I said, there were some things that changed, and there were some things that I was just wrong on, and I need to correct that wrong. I need to right the wrong, and I need to talk to you about this speaker. I need to tell you what I still think of this speaker. Not to mention, one of the things that I want to talk about, because this is the original Play 1, I do want to talk about the Alexa functionality, specifically taking this old Play 1 and being able to pair it with an Echo Dot. And so I will talk about that. I will walk you through that process and then give you a quick really of like what that looks like. But what I want to talk about is the fact that the Sonos speaker really hasn't changed much at all, the Play 1s that is, compared to the Sonos one, except for a couple of different features, and the fact that the Play 1 has these rocker style buttons, so very tactile, which I can really appreciate. It still has this aluminum mesh that I just love this build, and I mean it is a solid device, a very solid device. But the Sonos One does have that built-in Alexa functionality, which I think many of you out there will appreciate, and some of you got pretty upset the fact that Sonos added that and it wasn't built into this or some kind of firmware that we could get in the app to make it work. Well, there's a hardware component there, folks, so they just had to add that. But that's what we're going to talk about later in the video on how we can get that set up. But going back to the Sonos, since then, you can now use the app and stream somewhere like 50 plus music services. And I have to say that Sonos is really just crushing it on that. I realize that there are other speakers out there and other ways to stream things. And before we get too deep, many of you have asked, can you stream YouTube videos on this? Can you use these as like computer monitors? Well, unfortunately, there is no auxiliary cable here or auxiliary in, out, nothing. It's got the hookup for the LAN and then a place to mount the speaker wherever if you want to mount it somewhere. But essentially, that's it. That's what you got with the Play 1 and even the Sonos One, the updated speaker. There's none of that. So I'm not going to be talking about any kind of crazy workarounds for you to stream YouTube or to use these as computer monitors or editing monitors or whatever. I just want to talk about like really what these are meant for, and that is streaming that music. And so through the app, let's talk about going back to the hardware a little bit here. I have 2 of the Play 1s, and what you can actually do is you can group these together in the app itself, and you can create this stereo sound between the 2 speakers, so you can have a left and a right channel. Now if you just have the one, you're not pairing it with anything else, so you're only going to get everything mixed into here. But again, if you want to differentiate those and create a left and a right channel, you can do that with 2 of the Play 1s. Another thing that I think is just amazing, and this has been from the get, is that I can stream whatever I want to here in the studio or in the office, and if my family wants to get on the app and stream something completely different, like with their music, they can stream whatever they want in the living room or wherever this other speaker is. So we can have 2 different streams going on, and it's not, except for the fact that if the volume was cranked up, then we'd be bleeding into each other. But essentially, the point is that you can differentiate these and make these completely separate. Now, one of the things that I really kind of flubbed here was telling you about the app and the whole streaming thing. The streaming piece was like I was telling you that you're streaming the music through the phone and then it's pushing it to the speaker. That is incorrect, folks. What it really is that this is the remote. The app is the remote. And so if I hit play and I'm streaming something on Pandora or Spotify or whatever, what it'll do is it tells the speaker, this is what I want to stream from, and the speaker's doing the work. So I can leave the house, I can leave the footprint of the speakers or the Wi-Fi, it's still going to be streaming. Now, of course, yes, somebody can open up the app on their phone and stop it, or just hit the pause or button or turn things down or whatever on this. But so like if I leave, it doesn't mean that I'm still controlling it, because I'm leaving that footprint. So that's like one of the things that I wanted to correct. So the speaker is doing the streaming once you tell it through the app what to stream. Now, as far as what this thing is capable of and filling a room, one speaker will definitely fill a room. And we have paired up the speakers on the whole main level of the house, and it fills the house. These things can drive sound like nobody's business. So I wanted to actually give you some examples of some sound that can come out of the speaker, and it would be really hard for me to kind of do that through the camera. So what I've done as an example, and I'm going to be using music that I'm allowed to be streaming here on YouTube, so I can play it for a little bit just to kind of give you some idea. But I set up my Zoom H6 handheld recorder in the middle of the room, and using an XY microphone setup, just set it up kind of not directly in front of the speaker, but in the middle of the room, and just played some music just so that you can get an idea of that. So that's where you're going to be hearing the sound. It's going to be through that handheld recorder. And of course, I don't have the best acoustics in this office set up yet. So let's just get into some music. This is going to be a little bit of like some soft, like kind of, it's pop. And then we're going to have a build and something that's going to kind of punch a little bit. And then I got another song that's going to be a little bit different, but I just want to give you some perspective.
You promised me to tell if there's anything haunting you. You leave without saying where you're going or where to.
Okay, kind of soft, but let's get to that build. Okay, I'm not saying I'm a dancer or anything, just, want to give you a little bit of that punch. The volume on that is really set at roughly like a third to, close to maybe half of what the speaker is capable of. So that just kind of gives you some perspective. Now let's move over to something a little bit edgier, something a little bit harder that can give you another perspective. And again, if this doesn't interest you, then, well, we'll get to the Alexa stuff in a second. So definitely a little edgier there, but again, you get an idea of what these speakers are capable of. And speaking of what it's capable of, especially with the upgrade, why don't we get into getting this thing set up with the Alexa Dot and then see what that can do. Okay, so we are going to be looking at my phone here, and this is me literally unboxing the Dot and setting it up for the first time. So I should preface as well that this is not about me setting up the Sonos to connect to these speakers. You can find out more at sonos.com or another video. I just want to focus on the Amazon device here. Okay, so the biggest thing that we need to focus on is updating these apps. So I already have the Sonos app installed. So we'll open up the Sonos, and then those are a couple music services that I have on there. We'll go to the devices are living room and office. Now that the one thing I need to preface here is that you need to know the names of these, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So what we'll do is we'll go further in and we will go to settings and update. So we're going to be looking at updating this. So we're checking for updates. Sure enough, it found one. I hadn't updated in a while. So let's do it, definitely. So we're going to continue to get this thing updated and allow it to update. So we'll just kind of scrub through this a little bit, fast forward through it, so that we can get there and get this thing updated. So always work with the latest software. It's up to date. Then we're going to open up the Amazon Alexa app here. And then there is this welcome message that I got. Like I said, literally just opening this thing up for the first time. And then we are met with the home screen and then going into add a device, which is that plus button up in the right. So I want to add an Amazon Echo, and I want to add an Echo Dot. And then that's going to be the 3rd generation one. So we'll continue to get this thing set up. Phone wants to allow the access, or wants me to allow it. There's the Echo. We will click on that. We're going to get the Wi-Fi set up here and connect that to the Dot. Doesn't really take that long. And then what we're going to be doing is getting this screen saying that everything is connected, and we're going to continue because now we need to decide, are we going to use this as the built-in speaker? For right now, yes, we're doing the built-in speaker because the Sonos connection is going to be a skill, and we'll get to that in a second. But ultimately, the Dot itself is going to be the speaker. Now, where is it? And of course, you can just kind of scroll down and get to, a lot of these places in your home. I'm going to have it in the office, and we will confirm that. It's going to continue to set it up. All right, so then we're going to hit the settings, go to skills and games. And what we're going to be doing is this is a skill that we're teaching or telling Alexa. So we'll go up to the magnifying glass here and do a search. And we're going to be typing in Sonos because we want to be working with the Sonos. Sure enough, the Sonos app or Sonos itself, it just comes up. It's the first one. So we're going to click that. And then we want to enable to use, because we're giving it permission to the Sonos app and the speakers that the Dot's going to be able to work with this. So we're going to log in and continue and confirm all of these things, get through it. Okay, yep, we want to allow it. That is what we want. So then we get to this screen saying Sonos has been successfully linked. Yay, Amazon. Now, 2 devices are found. That pops up, so we don't really have to discover the devices because they've already been discovered. So she's already done a great job finding those things. So we are back at the home screen here, and then what we're going to be doing is looking at all of the devices, and you will see the office and the living room. And office is the one that we're focused on here. And again, that's important. Now, one of the things that we could do is we could set the speaker as a preferred speaker. So I could actually set the Sonos speaker to always be the one delivering the audio, but I'm just going to say the preferred speaker is the Dot because the skill is going to tell her to basically stream to Sonos. So we're going to go back in because essentially what we need to do is get the music all dialed in. So when we click on the music here, we will see that there are a couple of options and default Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn. So what we have to do is go in and add a service or link a service. I want to link Pandora, so we're going to able to use that. So enabling Pandora wants to get me signed in, so I sign in, and of course I accept and approve that this should be linked up. So it's successfully linked. Now, what I will do is go back out of this, and then essentially we will see that the Pandora app is there. And so that will allow me to then call up that as a service or like a request. So then when I ask her to stream, one of the really important things is to know the name of the speaker. And so let's get into that.
All right, so now that we got that set up, one of the things that we need to be very specific with is what I was telling you in the tutorial is that you need to know when you've paired that speaker, you know that that speaker has a name, it's identified as something, because when we give the command with the Dot, we don't want it to stream from that speaker. We actually want it to stream to that speaker across the room. So you need to be specific in that command. Alexa, stream Spearhead Michael Franti in the office.
Michael Franti and Spearhead Radio from Pandora. Playing on Office.
people in many little places do many little
Alexa,
things, and the whole world
stop.
changes, but sometimes not.
Don't want to get a copyright strike on that. Love some Michael Franti and Spearhead. All right, folks, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell, or the shell of a speaker here. I can't say enough good things about the Sonos Play 1. I still love the sound and what the app can do and what it's capable of. If you don't have a speaker, this speaker, then check out the links below, or if you want to pick up another speaker so that you can pair that and group that, well, check out the links below. And I will continue to be in the comments section, folks, and I will be there for all the comments. So if you have questions or comments, please leave those below and I will get back to you as soon as possible because I want to help you make an informed decision here. Let's get out of here on this one. As always, do things that matter, keep rocking faces. Thanks so much for tuning in. I can't wait to see you beautiful people out there on the next one.
The smoke down here will sting and burn so cold.